Well, hello and a very warm welcome to this week's Racing Post Sweet Spots. Is of course PGA Championship, the second major of the year, and it's one of the big ones. And we're of course joined as ever by golf guru Steve Palmer. How are you, Steve? And I'm sure you're excited for a major.
Love a major, Dave. Love a major. Loads of betting opportunities. Let's have it.
Let's have it indeed. And we're of course going to be joined now by Boyle Sports Leon Blanche, who's going to be talking us through the betting insight and some fantastic each-way terms. Now, Leon, this is a big one. The 104th PGA Championship's the second major of the year, and you guys are going all out with the each-way places this year.
Yeah, listen, Dave, we're going 11 places on the main book. I think we're the only bookmaker in the industry offering 11 places, which is a fantastic offer for our customers. We do have alternative place books on the win market only. If you want to back 6, 8, or even 12 places, you can back it with ourselves on that win market only. We've got more in play markets, Dave, than anyone else, including all the major 3 balls, right up until the last putt, hole by hole markets, including the hole winner, player hole score, hit a green in regulation, distance from the pin on par 3 shots, number of putts. We've got the fastest play-by-play leaderboard in the industry by some way, and live streaming on all par 3s. So whatever you need for the US PGA, come across to Boyle Sports and we will have you covered 100%.
And the punters come alive, I'm sure, when that magic word major comes along, right? We're expecting a lot of business?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, when you've got the best product in the industry, you're expecting an awful lot of business, and that's what we have. So for whatever you want, our in-play offering is just fantastic, Dave. We've got thousands of in-play markets. It's an unbelievable offering for our loyal customers, and plenty of movers already in the PGA market. Spieth is now a 14-1 chance from 20s, Cantlay 18s from 25s, and Matsuyama is 25s from 33-1. So plenty of action at the moment already. It's only going to get busier in the build-up to the first ball being hit. And a couple of golfers we think that could go well this weekend. Matthew Fitzpatrick, he's a 28-1 chance when you want to go the 11 places. Although he's yet to win on the PGA Tour, his form has been excellent to date. And he's had 5 top 10s in 9 starts. He was a decent 14th at the Masters. And while his major record is probably a little bit disappointing, if this comes down to a scrambling test, which this course certainly will, in and around the greens, we think this guy is as good as anyone around them greens to stay in the mix. Corey Connors is a 40-1 chance on the 11 places market. He hasn't missed a cut in 3 months, and he showed plenty of major credentials with a tied 10th in the Masters, his 3rd in a row. He's a ball striking machine, and we believe he will contend come Sunday. Tony Finau is also a 40-1 chance in 11 places. Although his recent form probably isn't great, he did finish strongly to finish 2nd to John Rahm. Maybe not the most competitive field, but his major record is right up there with the very best, having 9 top 10s since the start of 2018. He was 8th and 4th on his last 2 PGA Championship starts. And a couple of long shots, Dave. Ming Woo Lee at 200-1 in the 11th place market, and Harold Werner at 80-1. We think he got a long-awaited win on the PGA Tour at the Saudi International earlier in the year. Very solid form this year, which includes a 6th at the Players and 3rd in the Heritage. Very respectable 23rd at the Masters, and has made the last 3 cuts at the PGA. So just a couple there from our trading floor who they feel could go well at the US PGA.
Well, good stuff, Leon, and we'll whisper this one quietly, but any word on Mr. Woods? I'm sure he'll be very popular as ever with the punters.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's the biggest name in golf. He's the biggest draw. It's brilliant that he's going to be lining up in the PGA. He's a 50-1 chance in the 11th place market, and I'm sure people are going to have a little punt on him because at those type of odds, I remember, I'm sure Steve would even better than me, but, you know, when Tiger ever in his pomp used to be going for a major, he was never anywhere near a 50-1 chance. He still retains a little bit of the old sparkle, and it'd be a great story even, I think, if he could finish in the top 10. Don't know whether he's got the game right now to win. However, he's such a genius, Who knows what's going to happen? But I'm sure he'll be popular at that 5-0, 50 to 1 with 11 places being offered.
Yeah, I'm not sure the lads in the training office will call it a good story if he ends up in the places, Leon. But luckily, we'll be hearing from his number one fan, Mr. Palmer, very shortly with his selections and his view on this tournament. And very quickly, we've got that sliding scale, the places 11 all the way down to sort of trim off the places, make the prices bigger. But you're also going to enhance Steve's main selection this week as well.
Yeah, look, whatever Steve tips up to win the US PGA, Boyle Sports will enhance that. So he's got a huge following. And look, this is the name of the game. Give people a little bit of extra value and hopefully some of them can win.
Absolutely. We'll be hoping so as well. Thank you for your time and insight, Leon, and speak to you soon.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you.
Okay, now then, Mr. Palmer, the second major of the year is upon us. Who's coming into this week in good form? Very quickly for us, Steve, what happened last week?
Well, we had a 100-1 winner on the PGA Tour. Kyung-Hoon Lee won that one. Not a great one for the punters, even though he was defending champion. He hadn't shown much form. And then Sam Horsfield won the Soudal Open with his girlfriend caddying for him. That was nice to see. They had a lot of fun out there. But yeah, not a great week for the punters. But the US PGA is a fascinating puzzle. Fantastic each way terms out there. So we dust ourselves down and we go again for a major.
Before we get in, and I mean, the word on everyone's lips is Spieth coming back to form, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got a lot of Spieth mania generated here. We have to have a big discussion about Jordan Spieth. Spieth fans are foaming at the mouth with excitement and understandable. Going for the career Grand Slam, and it's entirely feasible.
They've not been foaming at the mouth for a while. Right, let's get into it then, Steve. As I mentioned, second major of the year, 104th PGA Championships. This is one of the big ones. Set the scene for us.
We're at Southern Hills. It can stretch to 7,556 yards past 70. I mean, they'll fiddle with the yardage as the week goes on, depending on the weather, but it can stretch that long. So we've got a long par 70, only 2 par 5s. It hosted majors in the distant past. The last of them was the 2007 US PGA, which was won by Tiger Woods. But the course is a lot different to how it was back then. Jill Hance, very well-respected course designer, he completely redesigned the track in 2019. It used to be really tight, used to have heavy rough around the greens. Now it's much more open. He's cleared out all the trees and no rough around the greens. So I think the biggest challenge for the players this week is on approach. The greens are like upturned saucers. They repel mishit approaches and send them down these sharp slopes. So I think approach play is key. And I think sharp scrambling is important because we've got loads of breeze in the forecast. Everyone's going to be missing greens. You're going to have to scramble really well to win this.
Steve, just quickly, are you aware of what the 18th's like? I quite enjoyed last week with a par 5 that's reachable in 2. I like that excitement at the end. Are we going to see drama on the 18th?
Well, you're not going to get par 5 drama. I mean, the 2 par 5s here are massively long. You know, they're 3-shot holes for most of the field. They're 600 plus. You just got a succession of par 4s. So it's a totally different test to last week. Last week was easy. I mean, you would have made a birdie or 2 last week, Dave. This week is really, really tough going. It's very, very contrasting in terms of difficulty. And before we continue, we really have to discuss the possibility. I have to sound the unfortunate klaxon of potential draw bias. Punters hate this when they come to a tournament and they're betting, and we're discussing it now before the tee times have been announced. The tee times could be crucial on this because it's going to be very windy on Thursday afternoon. You're going to have a calm Thursday morning, a windy Thursday afternoon. It's going to be really hot on that Thursday afternoon as well. So the Thursday afternoon conditions really tough, oppressive heat and wind. On Friday morning, it's going to be really windy, and then it tails off a little bit in the Friday afternoon, and it's pleasantly cool on Friday afternoon. So as things stand, weather forecast can change all the time. As things stand, you want an early tee time on Thursday, and we're all desperately waiting for the USGA to release those tee times. I mean, maybe they'll put all the players that have requested a release to play in the Saudi Golf League. Maybe they'll stick all them in the bad side of the draw. That seems a sensible tactic to me. But yeah, tee times unfortunately are quite important for this.
Steve, when and where can we find them then? Quickly, the punters out there.
The when, I have no idea. It's infuriating. They just suddenly appear, don't they, on the feeds? But if you keep typing into Google PGA Championship tee times, PGA Championship tee times, at some point today, they will be released. And as I say, things can change. We don't want to get too hung up on it. It's a bit like the Players' Championship. Do you remember that? We were all getting very, very concerned about the weather forecast before that. And then it actually flipped the other way come the tournament time. And the advantage was the opposite side of the half of the draw. So let's not get too carried away with it. But yeah, ideally, certainly increase stakes if your players get an early tee time. Amazing stat. I'm going to dazzle you with an amazing stat here, Dave. Just on the subject of how important these first 2 rounds could be. There's been 10 significant tournaments at Southern Hills, 7 majors and 2 tour championships. They had the PGA Tour Championship there in the late 90s and one senior PGA Championship last year. So 10 significant events. The 36-hole leader has won all of them. It's an incredible stat, really. So, the first 2 days of this tournament could be all important, particularly if the weather has an impact and potentially handicaps half the field.
Okay, right. So we've talked approach. Who has won? We mentioned Woods won the last PGA Championship here. Who else has got winning form at the track, Steve?
Retief Goosen won the 2001 US Open there, but as I say, massive course changes. I wouldn't put much stock in. It's distant course form, and there's been revision of the track. So I think we've got to just focus on the here and now.
Okay, right. Well, we know that the Spieth fans are foaming at the mouth, as are the punters at the edge of their seats. Who is the Steve Palmer main selection for this year's PGA Championships?
The number 1 selection is Scotty Scheffler. I can see the chef completing the second leg of the Grand Slam on Sunday. Everyone's getting excited about Jordan Spieth completing the career Grand Slam. Maybe the Scheffler can go 2 legs into a 2022 Grand Slam. I think he should be clear favourite. I think he should be a shorter price than he is. He's undoubtedly the best player in the world at the moment. He's won 4 of his last 7 tournaments as an individual. He struggled to focus in that Zurich Classic alongside Ryan Palmer. That was his first outing after the Masters. Last week, cruised through the Byron Nelson, 4 rounds in the 60s for 15th place. Just had the feel of him ticking that Rolls-Royce engine over, saving himself for the one that matters most. He had a cold putter, but aside from the 13th hole in round 2, he played beautifully last week. He had a triple bogey at the 13th hole in round 2, sliced his drive into the trees, missed a short putt. Generally, though, excellent throughout the week. He was working his ball both ways, with ultra comfort. There are loads of dog legs this week at Southern Hills. That ability to work the ball both ways will stand him in great stead. And his approach play was his strength last week. He was superb on approach. That's the key to success at Southern Hills. And I just think he's going to go up a level. With all due respect to the Zurich Classic and the Byron Nelson, the new Masters champion was always going to find it tough to get fully motivated and focused for those two. He was a bit sloppy on the greens last week, as I say. I think this week, the competitive instinct, major competition, it kicks in. Scheffler right in the zone, and he's teeing up at his favourite golf course. I don't think this can be overplayed. Scheffler's favourite track is Southern Hills. He won a college event there in 2015. He says he loves the course changes. He's been playing there more recently. He loves the changes. They've actually made his favourite course suit him even better by clearing out a lot of the trees. It's much more room to manoeuvre off the tee now. If Scheffler does have a weakness, it's a little bit of driving inaccuracy occasionally. His favourite course suits him even better now. He shot 64 there in a practice round the other day. Got a lot of headlines, but according to the reports, he didn't hold a putt there. He shot 64, just by hitting everything close. He clearly knows how to play this course. It's only a 4-hour drive from his house. So, I love this Spieth mania because I think the Spieth mania has taken the heat a little bit off Scheffler, much like it was at the Masters. He went to the Masters as world number 1. Everyone was talking about Tiger Woods, and Scheffler enjoyed being a little bit under the radar. And I just want that Spieth mania to build and then take a little bit of the heat off the man who I think is still the man to beat, emphatically the man to beat, and that's Scotty Scheffler.
And Steve, that's not a myth, right? He's actually recently been quoted to say, this is my favourite course.
Yes. He said it in the distant past when he was winning those college events there, and he said it more recently, and he's gone back there a lot lately, and he loves the changes. He says the greens are very similar to how he remembers them. This is a real affection for the course. The cards are falling right for Scheffler again.
Great stuff. And we, of course, heard from Leon Blanche from Boyle Sports. They'll be enhancing the chef, Steve, the main pick this week. And, who else is in the team then? Steve, how many of you picked out this week?
We got 4. I'll do an understated 4 as Bruce is not here. I always feel a lot of pressure to do a large one. But, we've got 4 selections, Dave.
Okay, nice and reserved. Who is second in the team?
Second in the team is Patrick Cantlay, the FedEx Cup champion, the PGA Tour Player of the Year, a 6-time PGA Tour champion on his own. And then last time out in the Zurich Classic Pairs event, he won that alongside Xander Schauffele. And Schauffele would be the first to admit that Cantlay was the key to their success there. You know, Cantlay's such a solid player now, no statistical weakness. He's good at everything, mentally stronger than he's ever been at the age of 30. He had 2 playoff defeats. He's had 2 playoff defeats this year. One of them came a week before that Zurich Classic, but water off the duck's back to Cantlay, really strong between the ears. The following week in the Zurich Classic, he led that team superbly. He's a cool, calm, calculated character. I think he goes close to a first major title on Sunday. You know, this fella's been touted as a major champion since day one. You know, world #1 amateur, had a few injury problems, but he's clearly now the complete player. His US PGA record is consistent, 33, 27, 3, 43, 23. And I think it's important to note this is the first US PGA he's teed up in as a Ryder Cup winner. I think, you know, making that Ryder Cup debut is really important, particularly if it goes well. And he made a superb Ryder Cup debut. He was unbeaten throughout, easily won his singles match. And I just see it's a natural career progression now for Cantlay to go on and win that first major, like Scheffler did. Scheffler made his Ryder Cup debut. It went fantastically well, and then he won the Masters. I think Cantlay could do a similar thing.
Yeah, solid player. I'm sure he'll be there or thereabouts. Remember, Boyle Sports, 11 places in this year's PGA Championships. Right, who else, Steve?
Number 3 is Shane Lowry. I think Shane Lowry will lead the European Challenge this week. He's been in rock solid form all year. Yeah, people always go on about the luck of the Irish. I mean, Lowry has had no luck this year. He's been luckless. He's been playing fantastic golf, but it's been winless golf so far. He was runner-up in the Honda Classic in February. Really unlucky to get caught in a burst of heavy rain. I do remember that one day. Burst of heavy rain on the 72nd hole made that par 5 really difficult. And he finished second to Sepp Straka. He went well in the Players' Championship, got a hole-in-one there, finished 13th. 4 rounds in the 60s for 12th spot in the Valspar. And then he contended in the Masters. He had a disaster on the 4th hole on the Sunday, a triple bogey on the Sunday. Still managed to finish 3rd in the Masters. Then he was 3rd again in the Heritage following week, beaten by a shot. Larry's game's just in fantastic nick. He even managed 13th place in the Zurich Classic, with Ian Poulter playing like Ian Plonker. You know, Ian Poulter was carried by Lowry throughout that Zurich Classic. Poulter be the first to admit Lowry did well to get them to 13th place in that. So he's just not ever playing badly at the moment, Lowry. He's a major champion, of course, and he's going to a track which he should love. Lowry is 4th on the PGA Tour for strokes gained on approach. Really eye-catching stat. His approach player's gone up a level this year. He's always had magic hands. I talk about how everyone's going to be missing greens and needing to scramble well. You know, Lowry's, you know, his peers just worship his ability around the greens. And yeah, it's a bit of wind in the forecast. Again, another positive for Lowry. And his US PGA form from the last 4 editions, 12, 8, 66, 4. He had a lot of fun in the final round last year with Padraig Harrington, finished 4th in the USPGA. He's won the 2015 WGC at Firestone, a long tree-line par 70 with a world-class field. He was US Open runner-up in 2016. Easy to forget that one. Open champion in 2019. He can deliver in the biggest events, Shane Lowry.
Okay, very good case made for Shane Lowry. Just quickly, Steve, a point you mentioned there. Are there any players on the tour that you see as a negative when one of your players are paired up with them? You mentioned Ian Plonker. They're your words, not mine.
Well, yeah, I mean, slow players. I mean, if you back a fast player and he's with a slow player, you know, that can be unhelpful. But yeah. I don't want to get too hung up on group dynamics. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, it was a really amusing tweet that Lowry did after that tournament with Poulter. Actually, he is carrying Poulter on his shoulders. I think it was from a Ryder Cup or some sort of party. And, you know, he made the point that he was the star man of that partnership. And yeah, Larry's different class to Poulter. And Larry, you know, you have to massively respect Larry in majors now. He seems to have gone up a level this year, and he's just been really unlucky. Maybe this week is the time he gets the luck. And I can't see our friends Boyle Sports offering too much of an enhanced price on an Irishman there, but let's see how long we can let's see how long they last with their enhanced price on that one.
Good stuff.
Lay down the challenge there. Lay down the challenge.
The gauntlet. All right, complete the team for us then this week.
And the final one at a much bigger price. The best outsider, in my opinion, is Cameron Young, a rising star of the PGA Tour. Tied 2nd in the Genesis Invitation in February, a world-class field. 3rd in the Heritage in April. and second in the Wells Fargo the week before last. Clearly it's only a matter of time before Young becomes a PGA Tour champion. Can his first victory come in a major? It's entirely feasible. It does happen. It happened twice in 2003. I don't know whether you were born then, Dave, long time ago. Ben Curtis. Ben Curtis. You remember Ben Curtis? He got his first win in the Open Championship, and then Sean McKeel got his first win in the US PGA Championship in the same year. I think Cameron Young is better than those two players. I think Cameron Young's capable of winning majors. He's got loads of power, one of the biggest hitters on the tour, but the rest of his game is improving and getting more polish. He's playing well on all sorts of different kinds of tracks now. Yeah, if he's performing well in the Heritage, fiddly track that. I think he's really coming on. He's won twice on the Corn Ferry Tour. So he's a winner. I think he's going to make a really strong US PGA debut. Keegan Bradley won the US PGA on debut in 2011. Colin Morikawa won the US PGA Championship on debut. I think Cameron Young is capable of doing likewise.
A long way down the list there. Big price. Well, we'll come back to Steve's selections for a roundup at the end of the show. But let's touch on some of the big boys then, Steve. Well, Jon Rahm, of course, is contesting favouritism with the chef. What are your thoughts on him coming into this?
Yeah, I heard Wayne Riley on Sunday during the Byron Nelson. He was talking about how he thinks Rahm is the man to beat in the US PGA, but I still think Scheffler's not getting the respect he deserves there. They, as you say, they're jostling for favouritism. For me, Scheffler is definitely the favourite. Rahm's won nothing but a really low-grade Mexico Open. He fell over the line in Mexico in an absolutely rubbish field. In elite company this year, Rahm's been found wanting. He was tailed off in the Masters. So, if Scheffler against Rahm, for me, Scheffler should be emphatically the favourite.
Okay, Rory McIlroy.
Seems bouncy. Between the ears is very important with this, mercurial talent. I love that word, mercurial. He's bouncy. He's positive. Positive. Sorry, I must pronounce my T's. My daughter talks poor because I don't pronounce my T's. He seems positive, which is good. So McIlroy fans can be hopeful. He's a two-time US PGA champion. Obviously, runner-up in the Masters in the last major. Fantastic final round. But I think approach play is the key this week. It's not a McIlroy strength, and I'm never ultra keen on backing him in the wind either. He likes to hit it very high, doesn't he? So, not for me.
Okay, two players that showed up okay last week, Morikawa and Justin Thomas.
Justin Thomas, winless for 15 months now. Another great opportunity went begging on Sunday. On approach playability, he must be respected this week. But, will the putter let him down again? Probably. I've just lost a bit of faith in Thomas. He gets talked up before the majors and then lets him down. He hasn't contended for a major for donkey's years now. So, I can leave Thomas. And Morikawa, again, approach play. Very similar players. Thomas and Morikawa, elite approach play. They're probably the two best iron players in the game. But he's going to need to be, isn't he? Because, with there's a consistent breeze all week. Everyone's going to be missing greens. That's my concern with Morikawa. Is he a good enough chipper? So that's why I'm ruling him out there.
Okay, and from what we heard from you a little bit earlier on, you're not fancying Mr. Spieth.
I fear Mr. Spieth. I fear him. The price has gone a little bit because of what's happened. He's the talk of the town, isn't he? He's never played a US PGA this close to home. He's relished the conditions that he's going to face this week. The putting is the concern for me. The putting and the pressure. Because this is the most elite club in golf. He's thinking of joining here. If he completes the career Grand Slam, he goes up miles in terms of stature, legacy. So there's a huge amount of pressure to deal with, and that pressure it will be felt on the greens because his putting. If you look at his putting stats this year, Dave, they're terrible. Traditionally a strength. Yeah. And the first 3 rounds last week, everyone was getting very excited, me included, thinking that the putting was coming back. And then on Sunday, he had a 3-putt from very short range. The putting was back to how it has been, like really frustrating. He's 175th in the putting stats. So I think it's very hard to see Spieth not being in contention. I just wonder whether that putting vulnerability and the sense of occasion will be too much for him. I'm narrowly leaving him out of the staking plan.
Okay, and then I have to get one line from you on Mr. Tiger Woods.
Mr. Tiger Woods, Mr. Tiger Woods, great to see him there again. I think this is a tougher challenge for him. I think this would be a bit of a slog. He's obviously he's a month down the line health-wise. But I think making the cut this time will be an even bigger achievement than the Masters. Making the Masters cut is pretty straightforward. Given the amount of ceremonial golfers, and this is a much stronger field, much physically in numbers there's more people there. I hate being negative about Tiger Woods. As you say, I'm his #1 fan, but I think he's going to struggle to play 4 rounds. There's lots of positive chat about his practice and that, but I don't know. He's always very positive, his Tiger. I'm sorry, I don't think he's going to be around for Saturday. We'll see what prices come out on the make the cut, miss the cut market. And there's probably one more player we should discuss, Dave. I don't want to prompt you before we go on, because Victor Hovland has been my long-term fancy for this for a long time. But there's just a couple of things that have put me off about Victor Hovland now. If we were playing in calm conditions, I think he'd have an outstanding chance, because he's playing in his adopted home state of Oklahoma. He knows the course quite well. But this forecast for consistent breeze, like all week we're going to have breeze. Everyone's going to be missing greens. Scrambling has become all important. And, Hovland's still got that massive weakness chipping wise, so he's going to have to, his approach play is fantastic. Tee to green, he's one of the best golfers in the world. He's going to need to be exceptional to avoid having lots of chipping to do. So the weather forecast put me off, and his Zurich Classic performance put me off. I mean, he was in a supposed dream team with Colin Morikawa for the Zurich Classic, hot favourites for that, and they were tailed off in the Zurich Classic, and that was largely Hovland's fault. If you look at what happened, Morikawa played all right, but Hovland was poor, so he's just gone off the ball at the wrong time for me, Hovland. So I'm going to have to leave him out this time, even though he was a long-term fancy.
Okay, right. I'm going to put you right on the spot now, Steve. We've mentioned all the big guns, we've mentioned all the specials out there to miss the cut, etc. Give me a player sort of somewhere near the head of the market that could be a bet to miss the cut.
It's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. I think maybe Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson has been really struggling to find a driver he liked. I thought he'd have got it sorted out in the lead up to the Masters, and during the Masters, he actually switched drivers during a major championship. After the Masters, it was very much head down to get married. He got married straight after the Masters. He's got back into it, and last week really unimpressive. He tied for 59th in the Byron Nelson, closed with a 73. It's hard to see Dustin Johnson winning this week. I think he probably will make the cut, but if you're asking for a value selection out of the market leaders, I suppose he's the one that you'd lean towards.
Well, as ever, top stuff from Steve there. Remember, Boyle Sports playing 11 places this year's PGA Championship. Remind us then, Steve, of your fabulous 4.
Scotty Scheffler, Patrick Cantlay, Shane Lowry and Cameron Young.
Good stuff. Right, no Bruce for the sweet spot, but yourself and Bruce will be back on the Racing Post YouTube channel at 8 p.m. on Sunday night for the live watch along, and plenty of advice along the way there, and a little bit of banter sprinkled in, I'm sure, Steve. Yeah,
it could be a long night. If it goes to a playoff, it's a 3-hole playoff and then sudden death. So, I think we'll be looking at a midnight finish there. All good fun.
Cheering on your selections, no doubt. As I mentioned, there are hundreds and hundreds of specials. Have you got anything lined up for us, like a top tip, any sort of special that catches your eye?
I think Hideki Matsuyama for top Asian is the best of the tops. That looks a really solid bet. A very weak section this. He closed with a 62 in the Byron Nelson on Sunday. He looks a great fit for this course. I mean, Hideki Matsuyama must be respected in the outright market. He's got a good record in this tournament. He came close to winning the US PGA before he'd won a major. If he gets a chance this time, he's more likely to take it. But I think the place to back him is in the top Asian market. You could perhaps pay for all your outright bets by backing Matsuyama in the top Asian market.
Good stuff. Plenty of bets to get stuck into this week. Strap those betting boots on. Right, as ever, Steve, thank you for your time and expertise, and good luck this week.
Thanks, Dave. Good luck with the Greyhound Derby. I know you're getting all excited about that. Call Me Steve is going to win that, by the way. 100-1. Call Me Steve. Very fast animal.
Yeah, he's a strong runner. He'll keep qualifying for you. So if you want to play the name game and follow Steve in, I want to put you off that one. The sweet spot will be back next week. We've got the Charles Schwab Challenge and the Dutch Open, of course, as ever. Please do remember to gamble responsibly, and above everything else, enjoy your golf this weekend.